Yo, what up? This your man Sham Phoenix. You're now tuned into the Stitch and Sham show. I already said my name already.
You was about to say that.
I already said my name already.
Hey, and I'm the other half.
Yeah.
Your man,
and that's my
Stitch
other half,
Early.
Stitch Early. We're not even going to fix that.
You know what I'm saying? We just going to leave that in
We're
there.
just going to leave it in there. I was like, I already said my name. I
Keep
did
it
something
rolling.
out of sequence.
Keep it rolling.
You're tuned into episode 43.
That's
If you want to, you can go back and check out episode 42. We talk a little bit about about the John David film, Malcolm and Marie with Zendaya, or it's actually Zendaya's film because she offered it to him. So let me not disrespect Zendaya like that. And then also the Denzel
disrespecting black women.
like,
hey.
we have to be so. All right, so this episode, because it's really what this episode is about.
Yeah.
It's about being PG and like.
PC.
Where PC politically correct?
Yeah,
where we are in
PG and
we gotta be parental guidance.
Yeah, there's got to be guidance.
Yeah, it's definitely gotta be some guidance.
Statements that you make, there got to be like guidelines behind them drinks.
The world might be in the most highest point of that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So, and we also talked about Denzel Washington and Ram Malek's film, The Little Things. This episode is really about what's happening in the sphere of, I wouldn't say, well, I guess it's entertainment. The first thing I wanted to talk about was, so Kanye West is back in the news. I feel like Kanye just finds his way. Yeah. He just be like, you know what?
That's where he survives. He thrives off of that drink.
It just be like, you don't ever just want to like not be in the news for something crazy?
Nah, he thrives. Oh.
What?
It was something, and it just, when you just said that
and you thought about it?
So last week we talked about Malcolm and Marie.
Yes.
While I was watching Malcolm and Marie, I said to myself, I was like, everyone has arguments. Like everyone has arguments in relationships, right? Yeah. How John David was in Malcolm and Marie, I was like, that might be how it is to be married to Kanye West. Because how he was so like,
all over the place,
and then like over the top.
Yes.
Like while I was sitting there, I remember saying to myself, like, yo, that's probably how it is.
Yeah, man.
Yay at the crib.
And because like Kim is a monotone.
From the outside, it seems.
I don't know. Like living with her,
but it seems
in
like
reality. But.
Yeah, it seems like she would be the one to kind of sit back and listen, like how a lot of times in the film she would sit back and he was just like
he was going
100 miles an hour, and there were some points like points wasn't hitting.
Yeah,
there was 50,000.
Yeah. So Kanye's back in the news, and this is why it's so disheartening, right? The singers that sung during his Sunday services are suing him for almost $30 million. Am I correct?
Suing him for tithes and offering.
This is the type of episode you're getting this week. This stuff, because you can't make this stuff up.
Oh man, yo.
So the people who were singing about Jesus for you are saying you didn't pay us anything.
You ain't give them their honorarium.
You didn't pay them for the album. You didn't pay them for the Sunday services. Yeah. Kanye is being sued for. Now again, I wasn't there. I don't know.
They got some dope monochrome outfits.
If a whole choir. And you've seen how big that choir is.
That choir is huge.
If a whole choir is suing you, I would like to believe that the 300 people that are suing
that choir is huge. I guess, because it was from doing the album.
Yes, during the album and doing the services.
And just doing the different services, the pop-up services, because they did Coachella.
They did a lot of stuff.
They did a lot of stuff. But because that was 2019, 2018. Yeah, they was moving. And they was on the plane singing with not Richard Gervais. I was about to say Richard Gervais.
What's his name?
He normally does the.
Is it John Baptiste?
Is it the white dude?
No, who's that?
I'm talking about the white dude. He normally does the he did it with the Migos, like they sing the songs in the car.
I know who you're talking
and I know his name, and I know
British dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is he British?
I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
The first Richard Gervais is, I believe.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but I think they did the airplane joint. Yeah, they did the airplane joint.
If that's politically correct.
Yeah. I don't know what politically correct is. I'm a bigger dude. Like,
yeah, I'd be like, I'm a little husky. If somebody was like, oh, you know, Mark, heavyset dude, I'd be like, I would be cool with that.
But nowadays, it's like, I don't know what you can and can't say.
Yeah.
It's almost to where you think to say something, you be like, man, but can I say that? And then if you ask what something is,
you sound like a jerk.
You sound like a jerk.
You
and
sound
you
like a jerk.
insensitive. It's like, nah, I just want to be informed.
I just want
like it was something that I always mix their two names up because they're so close. So it's John Givens.
Okay, and then Jay Gives. It's one. It's like
I always mix them joints up.
What you gonna
it's
see?
How people do with Joe Biden and Joe Budden. I always mix them two up.
Yeah,
but it was whoever he was on Humble Beast.
And Jay Gibbs, I think, was on Humble Beast.
So not the one that was with Dream Junkies.
Is that Gibbs?
I think Gibbs is with Dream Junkies. I think I don't know. Like
you gonna see age too in this.
Yeah, I always mix their names up, but I know he came out.
Yeah,
I know he came out like maybe a year or two ago.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
And there was something because like I follow him on Twitter. I've been following him, and it was something that he was talking about. I guess that was happening, and he had put a term up.
Yeah,
I did not know what that term meant,
and he was like,
and I was gonna be like, yo, what does that mean? Yeah. But I was like, you know what? I'll just do my Googles.
Yeah.
And I'll find out for myself.
It's like mad difficult to like articulate feeling too, because there's certain things that I've said through long periods of time that were like at that time was actually politically correct or socially accepted.
Whereas now
I can't say like certain things.
Like certain artists that you look at that you be like Eminem couldn't have came out.
Oh now. Man.
Like
Killing his mom?
Odd Future. Like when they say timing is everything, like Odd Future came out at the right time. Yeah. Because Odd Future came out at a time where it was starting to become that way, like the way it is now, but it wasn't here yet.
It wasn't there yet.
So they were still able to do a lot of things to get their foot in the door and then be able to like switch things up and change up and grow as they got older to where you see like the maturity of like a Tyler the Creator and you know what I'm saying, Earl and you know the internet, you know, stuff like that. So but at that time, like I couldn't see that happening now.
No.
Like today.
You kill your mom if you want to now.
Exactly.
And you are gonna be done by the evening.
It's gonna be a wrap. It's gonna be a wrap.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And that's why I think like with this whole Kanye situation, it's like at some point in time, like you really have to figure this thing out, Kanye.
Yeah, man. And
like you're just too old for some of the stuff that you're going through. You're too old, and then to be an artist talking about that is the problem.
I think
I need to be free, and we need to look out for artists, and artists need to, and then you turn around and like do some people again. Like this is all allegedly, right? This is.
I'll say allegedly just because I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not fully in it. So even if another person say it and they a part of the choir, I ain't heard from the whole choir. Yeah, so I'll say allegedly because I don't know. But in that sense of, I think it's only the way of, and I think something that we always talk about is like, I'm an imperfect human being.
Yes.
Like I'm never going to sit here and be like, oh yeah, I do everything right. I ain't got no wrongs. Like, I do stuff wrong. I do wrong. A lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think when you hear a person come out and advocate for the artist, and then when that person also puts themselves on Front Street as the like, yo, I'm a millionaire now, like, did he say billion? He said billion. He might have said billion. Like I got mad bread, like I can do X, Y, and Z. And then you hear those types of allegations. Those allegations go against everything the person themselves said. This isn't something that like, we heard.
Yeah, this is like, and we didn't put it on.
This is Kanye saying this and ranting and putting this information out there to the public. So then when the people that have helped you get to that point to a certain degree with like the Sunday services, I don't know if Kanye is at that point. I don't know if Kanye's music itself is getting him to a Coachella.
No.
That Sunday service.
That's their voices.
That's their voices. And then him on the MPC and all that, getting them to those Sunday services. Yeah. So when you hear that, it becomes a disheartening thing where it's like, man, like I thought you was for
the artist.
Yeah. I thought you were for the artist. And so I think that's the biggest thing. Like, yeah, we hear about people not getting paid all the time. Yeah. We hear about those types of things.
That's a lot of people, though.
But that's a rack.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
He had a choir, like not just no regular choir. Yeah. He had like a mega church choir.
So then it just makes me think like, because those people are not going to pass an opportunity to work with Kanye. right?
Yeah, 1000%.
So do you're playing on people's emotions, like, oh, come do the work, and like,
I'm gonna get y'all. I'm gonna throw y'all some outfits.
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying. And they think that they're being a part of something that's going to be monumental or lucrative in the end, and then it's like.
And then you don't see it. And it's like, and especially when you don't see it from the other end, like you think about somebody like Beyonce who be having, she got the full marching band and, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them people, they jump at the opportunity.
Oh yeah, why not?
They're going to pay for my flight and put me up in a hotel. Yeah. I'm not even thinking about the financial end of it. But the one thing that marching band and stuff didn't do, they ain't do no whole album with Beyonce. Nah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Kanye did a whole album, put an album out, and then toured with that music,
But this is the thing that makes people leery about the business, though, right? And how long do we just accept opportunity without
proper compensation?
Without proper compensation or the residual income of doing things? And like, I watch a lot of like BET findings and. What's the other one that I really like? It's on TV1. It's
Unsung.
Yeah, Unsung. And like you're watching these things, and these people are jumping at opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and at the end of giving everything that you have, your voice, your talent, your intellectual property, you end up with nothing.
So I think back then, thinking about it, opportunity was the currency.
Yes.
So like, oh man, I'm gonna get to sing background for James Brown.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to sing background for a Stevie Wonder. Man, that's an opportunity. You even think about in Selvy's, what is it? Selvy's Love.
Yeah.
He jumped at an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Background, like I'm not right. I don't know if I'm gonna be writing songs or nothing, but I know I'm gonna get the opportunity to play. That opportunity to play may lead me to other stuff. Yes. The same thing with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yeah,
it was like his opportunity to be able to, cool, I'll play for her, but that's gonna get me to meet this person who I'm gonna be able to write songs for.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna get opportunity. So that was a currency. Whereas nowadays, the quote unquote clout, the viral, all of those things have become the opportunity. So you'll get people that go like, yo, you're going to be on the gram. You're going to be seen. You're going to have thousands of followers. You're going to have, but none of those things like pay your bills at the end of the day.
The translation of
it doesn't mean anything if it doesn't like become something like when you see, even just to tie it in, you know what I mean? I know we'll get to it, but tying in like a Joe Budden, where with them being on Spotify, it's like, that's cool.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. But does the opportunity meet the expectation of what we actually do?
Yeah.
And for like what Joe Budden and the Joe Budden podcast bring, the opportunity to be on the Spotify is dope.
Yeah.
But do I bring more to this company than this company brings to me?
Yeah, because I don't even feel like Joe was I feel like people do listen to him on Spotify, but I feel like majority of his fan base is on YouTube.
So I think maybe now. So in the beginning, so like I've been listening to Joe Budden podcast from like episode 1.
Yeah,
like before Maul was there, when it was Rory. Rory couldn't really read that good. Like they used to have like people like they used to do read emails, and Rory used to always have troubles with them jokes.
Like I just
but it was Rory, Marissa, and Joe. Parks wasn't even there yet.
Okay.
And they weren't doing video yet.
Okay.
So most people started listening. I know I started listening on SoundCloud.
Okay.
So then that's where I listen to SoundCloud. And then it grew to where they started doing the YouTube videos. So when they went to Spotify, I think Joe's biggest gripe was people weren't coming to Spotify. I didn't listen to podcasts on Spotify at all. Okay. All of the podcasts that I listened to was SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Because Combat Jack had Brilliant Idiots, Tax Tone, the Combat Jack Show, the Read, all of those joints were on SoundCloud. Then you had Juan Epstein.
Yes.
That was SoundCloud.
Yes.
So all of the podcasts I listened to was SoundCloud. The only time what took me to Spotify was the Joe Budden podcast. That was literally it. So I think with Joe's joint, it was the thing of we brought people here.
Yeah.
Like
and
y'all didn't do,
and you're not even giving me equity, and I brought most of the listeners.
And I brought most y'all didn't really do. I don't think Spotify really did anything for Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Joe Budden did a lot for Spotify. Yeah. I feel that most people didn't. Even most of the time, when I listen to music, I listen to music on Spotify here at the house because it connects to my Google joint. Yeah. But when I'm just in the car, like I listen to Tidal because if I got Michaela with me, they have it's easier for me to get the clean versions of stuff. You know what I mean? So, but like with the Spotify joint, I would say that just from a listener's aspect, I went to Spotify because they went to Spotify, not because like, oh man, I'm on Spotify already. Oh, they got the Joe Budden podcast. I'm gonna listen on here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing like with a Joe Rogan, who I'm pretty sure there's people who are going to Spotify now because Joe Rogan because he was all YouTube. Yeah, he was heavily YouTube. Everything was YouTube.
That and something else. There was something else. I can't remember the other platform.
Okay. Yeah. But, and it was probably the audio side.
Yeah, I think it was something on the audio side. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, Joe Budden has now become the urban. He's the.
I forget what the full.
I think it's like president over urban content for Patreon. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think he's gotten some equity in the company as well. Mm-hmm. And he's also bringing the Joe Budden podcast to Patreon.
Yeah. So they'll still do like I think they're still going to do like their YouTube stuff. Mm-hmm. There are 2 joints weekly.
He has a network now on YouTube.
Yeah. And it has 2 other shows on it. So, and then they'll have like, I think they have a $10 tier, a $15 tier. Mm-hmm. It's either 5, 10, and 25 or 5, 15, something and 25, like something like that.
Yeah. Cause even like Kev has gone down. Because he put out the app, he added a $3
to their Patreon. Yeah. Because of people watching stuff on the app.
So I felt like he probably should have went to Patreon even before he went to Spotify.
I agree.
Like, I feel like Spotify, I don't think it's hard to say because like, again, it doesn't feel like a waste of time, but when you get to the end result of what happened, it felt like a waste of time.
And I think the part where you would say it's not a waste of time is there's people who are already on Spotify that may not have listened to the Joe Budden podcast that may have found it through Spotify. Yes. Like, I wasn't one of those people, and I know there's a large group that weren't those people, but there's probably a large group also that was that. And so I'm almost attested, like if I could pick an artist to put it as, it was almost like when Wale went to MMG.
Yeah.
Like
I was already listening to Wale.
I was already listening to Wale.
I wasn't a fan of Wale because he was with Rick Ross.
I didn't necessarily feel that Wale needed MMG, but I'm pretty sure Wale gained an audience from the MMG guys. Drake. Like a Drake. But it's like, do Wale really need MMG? Like, nah, you already out here moving.
Yep. Like Drake did not need Wayne, but being with Wayne didn't hurt.
It gained him a different it grabbed him a different audience.
Yes.
Because I think even Drake's, and I think that's the same thing with Wale. Wale's, it grabbed him a different audience that he may not have necessarily went to because of that. So it's like with Joe and them, I think if they would have done Patreon before they did Spotify, like,
they've been out of here.
Been crazy. You know what I mean? Because they have such a following. They have an actual fan base. Yes. Like I saw somebody from DJ Booth posted the other day. It was talking about J. Cole and Kendrick, because somebody asked the question like, why is it that like J. Cole and Kendrick can put out like a verse a year or 2 verses a year, but then when they put out an album, it sells millions of, it does crazy streams. And so it's crazy that you can't say millions of records.
No, because there are no millions of records. Yeah, so that just crazy. Them old records.
Exactly. So that's crazy. And like the answer was, which is true, is J. Cole and Kendrick came in at a point to where we weren't fully over here, but we were leaving. We were leaving over here.
And they took a lot of what they had.
Audience. Yes. They had an audience, and they actually built a actual fan base that now when things go streaming, it's like, oh no, I'm a fan of that. So
I'm going to listen.
I'm going to listen regardless. So when it comes out, I'll be ready. You know what I mean? So I think with Joe and them, that's the same thing they did. They came out at a time in podcasting where they were building a fan base. Yeah. Like I literally remember Maul's first episode. Yeah. It was like, you didn't know if Maul was coming back next week. Yeah. It was just that Marissa wasn't there. And they had, hey, Maul in town.
Come on, man.
You come on the episode. Yeah. And then it was like, oh man, I like this dude on the joint. And then it ended up going, they replaced Maul for Marissa. Like, and then Parks came in, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was one of those things to where you kind of gradually, like, I'm pretty sure there's people that listen to us that are growing with us and probably like, yo, I remember the first episodes when it looked whack. Like,
did we ever look whack? Oh, no, we did.
No, the first, I'm talking about the very first.
I was about to, I tossed that episode out of my head. Like, don't ever do that again.
Yeah, that was that one. Yeah. That's the one I'm talking about.
It was not good.
So it was like, but we're building to where by the time we get to episode 100 and stuff like that, and we have like a core group of people who is like, yo, we've been there with these guys. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It makes it a little bit easier, I think, even for us to make decisions, because then it's like, oh, yo, let's move it here, or let's move the platform here, because now we know we have this chunk of people that are going to follow us wherever we go. So I think if there is a lesson learned from Joe and them going to Spotify, it is the fact that, like, yo, if y'all build it, like, we'll come, like, because it's y'all. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And I think that's why it seemed like when I heard the news, I was like, oh, this makes sense, because this would be very lucrative for someone who's, I've seen numbers as high as like a million, you know what I mean? Like for someone who has that type of following on a regular basis, they're in the 800,000s on a regular basis.
On a regular basis.
This is like, this makes way more sense.
Last year for my birthday, like, my wife got me tickets. We went to Philly. Yeah. And it was literally right before the pandemic.
Yeah, like, it was right before the pandemic.
It was in January, and we went to it was, and I think matter of fact, that might have been their last show.
Yeah, it was.
They did Baltimore, and then they did Philly.
Yeah.
And going to that and seeing like this sold out arena to watch a podcast.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we was able to get them like some Icon Nation gear. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? I took them the album. Yeah. So they, they got the boxes, met Maul, Rory, Parks, you know what I mean? And then Savon, who is Joe's assistant, and they have a podcast too, like, was able to do their podcast, and like, they love the gear and stuff like that. He like took one of these, like, no, I saw this hoodie out. He's like, I'm gonna take this up off of them. You know what I mean? So it's like, to see like that arena packed out and being like, oh, yo, nobody's here for like a concert.
No music.
Like, no music.
Nothing's happening.
So you think if in my head, if I go, man, if y'all were in this arena and y'all were to take each of these people and say, yo, let me get $10 from each of these people, and we're going to put our episodes here, everybody in here would do it, because we paid more than $10 to come here. To just see. So I'll definitely pay $10, and I don't got to do nothing but plug in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I'm glad that they're making that decision now. And I'm pretty sure there were some like things that they learned from being at Spotify, probably good and bad.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
the thing that I think that I really want to like talk about, especially when you talk about some people like Kanye and Joe Budden, and the realization of, I think I even said it last episode about how the asking for help, right? Yeah. Patreon is basically that. Is saying, listen, I have a dream, I have a vision, and because you guys are, a part of that vision and helping with that vision, we get to build this thing together. And there's a Joe Budden aspect, and then you have the Kanye where it's like, help me build my vision. But then I'm not giving you.
But I'm not gonna give you nothing. Yeah. Whereas with them, they're like, help me build my vision. I'm gonna give you a position, so that you actually have an actual say in this. It's not just, I'm gonna use you for your name and your likeness. Yeah. Whereas with the Kanye situation, it almost seems like, I'm gonna just use you for your voices and your talents, and then after that, I'm good.
And those are the things that make this business tough. The effects of these Kanye's actions make it hard for people to want to be a part of something on the upstart.
Exactly. I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for Kanye, people will do it because there's a hope that I'll get something. Where people like me and you, they're like, well, like, I see them start and I don't really know what I can get.
I don't really know what I can get from
right now. Like, I can see something. I just don't.
And I think it takes a person to go. Like, it takes a person to be like, man, I see this going somewhere, and I want to be a part of this growth. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me. Like, I want to be a part of the growth more or less than I selfishly want something for me.
Yes.
That I can take from them. And I think in certain situations, like with the Kanye situation, I'm pretty sure they're looking at it like, yo, we about to make some dope music with Kanye. as anybody would look
think
at.
that.
If Kanye showed up at my door today
Yeah.
and knocked on my door and was like, yo, I want to bring you to the studio. I want to work. Like, I would be on the phone with you so quick, like, yo, you got the call off this week. Kanye just came to the crib. Because in my head, I would go,
I'm going to see where it goes.
Opportunity.
Yeah, I'm going to see where it goes.
I'm going to see where this
Even though I don't be really rocking with Kanye like that right now,
but
I would still see.
But you would go, I just want to see where this go.
Yeah.
Maybe he could change my mind. Like, there's been people that have came that like I felt one way about.
Yeah.
And then it went, like when we had the episode and we talked about Kyrie.
Yeah.
Actually hearing Kyrie talk and articulate what he was going through, it's like, I ain't even think about it like that. You right. You was 1,000% right. And since he came back, he is dropping hooping. 30 balls on him just every night. Like it's nothing.
But it was that thing, just like you said. We thought about it, right? We took inventory and said, you know what? Maybe Kyrie isn't just a basketball player, and why are we treating him just like this? I wouldn't want someone to do that to me.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's definitely that thing, you know.
But I think that's the biggest thing. And then, like, when I think about a Joe Budden, right, who has had many different platforms, and then the one that you end up at is the one that, you know, the common man
has been the fact that, like, when they said the joint, I was like, yo, we on Patreon. I was like, yo, we on Patreon.
So, and that's the thing, because, like, I always say, in this business of entertainment, music, content, things like that, you have to be forward thinking.
Yep.
Because, like, even when you're looking at all the guys, we're looking at all the people at Spotify and like, oh man, we don't got a Spotify. But you know, okay, well, maybe that's not where we need to be right now. Let's focus on Patreon and trying to build that. And then for them to go through the same process, way bigger podcast.
Yeah.
And then be like, I'm just gonna end up where you are. It's like, man, are we thinking we
bypassed, right? We might be on the right. And it's like, we don't have, which is the thing that we're hoping to continue to cultivate. Yeah. We don't have that big of a following yet.
No.
But we're starting to grow and cultivate that following. So with our Patreon, we're hoping to continue to grow it and build it. Yeah. Like we've seen people that we're fans of, the Beliefs, the Kevs on stage, the Ruslan, like these people that we know and listen to, that we go, man, we've seen them grow. And the same thing with the Joe Budden podcast. So it's the same thing that I think why it hits so close to home is because these are conversations that we actually have. Yeah. Like these are conversations we have about where we want this podcast to go, where we want us as creatives to go with the different platforms that we have created to be able to create, you know? So,
because I think like the biggest thing for me is that even like when I'm watching Kev on stage, he's probably been the most close, because I do look at Belief and Ruslan, but as far as expansion and quick expansion.
Oh no, yeah. Kev
in this last year or so has is busted out at the seams, and I believe a lot of it is because of his following on Patreon, which I am a part of the stage crew. I support Kev. But those are the things that I see, because I think a lot of times the message of Patreon almost seems like, oh, these people are just trying to get rich, and that's not. And it's like, nah. The case is like, we're trying to build something, and we want to be able to maintain, because we all know as fans of something, right? Yeah. Like, let's just talk about Kanye, since we're there. The Kanye of 2003 to about 2009, 10.
What you saying next?
He seemed like he was making music from his own perspective.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And then as time started going on, it felt like he got more and more commercial about his message, and it deviated away from the art that, because it's not even saying like you got to keep doing soul samples or nothing like that. It just felt like he wasn't doing something, like something was missing.
Yeah, nah, I feel you.
And it felt like it was coming from somewhere else.
And I think some of that too can be your circle. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when the people that you have around you, and they fall off, and you know what I'm saying, and it's not something. Sometimes, like we were talking, like what is the thing that keep certain people like at a level ground. And I really feel for a lot of people, it's like the people that you have around you, like having people around you that will pull your coattail. Like that'll pull, hey, nah, that ain't that. I know if you see me out here wilding, you'll be the one to be like, yo, you good? Like, yo, you doing too much. You know what I mean? And I think if you have people around you like that, I think that's a part of it. But then also you as a person have to be open and willing for someone to pull at you and you go, oh, for real? I ain't even people like that. Okay, let me take a step back.
And that's what I've always seen Patreon as, not just an avenue for me to be able to like fully go into the things that I'm doing or like to do, but to keep that control and because a lot of times I know for me as a fan, when I start seeing people deviate, it'd be like, oh,
it makes you, it kind of makes you be like,
what's going on, man?
Yeah. And I definitely feel that
like Lupe started to deviate a little bit, and it was just like,
and that was the thing that pulled you back. And then you seen him go back and you was like, all right,
okay. He getting, now that he's broken free from the contract,
because I can do what I want to do. You know what I mean? So and I think that's the biggest thing, like with Patreon, as much as it is like the financial side of it does help the creative. Like for us, the one thing we've been talking about is like, man, we starting to create the content and build the content that we can now put up there. So now when you're going, you're actually seeing stuff like, okay, they got stuff up for me to check out. And because just like anything else, I pay for HBO Max, I pay for Netflix, I pay because they have content that I want to see. So therefore I pay for it. So it's the same thing for us with Patreon, and us being able to put out albums on Patreon and videos on Patreon, do episodes on Patreon, talking on specific things, you know, so those are things that we want to do. And the funds are needed in order to progress it, you know what I mean? And continue to build it and build upon that time. Even I think that having the time to do it. So you have those funds sometimes alleviate, okay, man, I could take off a couple of days, but then I could focus just on this. You know what I'm saying? So definitely.
Because you know, me and Stitch, we put our own everything into all the pieces of equipment, all musical equipment, video equipment,
time and everything. Like literally in about an hour and a half, we doing a little birthday party for my daughter. I'm supposed to be blowing up balloons.
We are.
But I'm gonna get to the balloons. Like we go.
Get there. But these are things that this is why I say the when we offer these things at the end of our videos, like we're about to do right now. So please go to patreon.com/UHRISE. As you can see, we're explaining to you guys, like we have a plan and we're really trying to get there, to be able to give great family content, thoughtful content, and not have to deviate, you know, based upon contracts and like even you heard Joe Budden and them talking about stuff that they had to do that they just like, I don't want to do that.
Like I think Joe,
and my listeners are not asking.
It was one joint like Joe Budden was like I think his father was dealing with COVID. He's like, yo, I'm trying to deal with my dad with COVID. They like, yo, when the next episode coming? Like, like I'm not thinking about no episode right now. But when you have contracts and things, you got to adhere to the contract. So it's like for us, we're able to make the decision of, yo, I got some stuff going on at the crib. Yo, can we shoot tomorrow? Hey, man, I ain't feeling too good today. Can we shoot another day? Like we're able to move those things around because of the communication and the freedom to be able to, when we wanted to move to a new location, we just looked and was like, yo, let's move to a new location. Like,
there's no one be like, oh, you got to change your setback. Or, you know, like
there was no one saying like, no, we don't like
those things are very important to the creative process, especially in this day and age, is being able to maintain the control over your intellectual property. So again, please go to patreon.com/UHRISE, check out UHRISEmusic.com. Just be aware that we're trying to build something here, and your involvement and participation is truly needed and welcomed. So, and I think we haven't done it in a couple episodes, but if you do have things that you want to hear us talk about, this is something we're trying to build towards is allowing people to feel like they're invested and that their investment is
and well that y'all are just as much a part of this as we are. Like these are conversations we have. Like, you know what I mean? So we definitely want the input of the person that's viewing us and going like, yo, I rock with these dudes. Yo, I wonder how they feel about this. I wonder how they feel on this subject. Things that we may not even think to talk about, you know, on air, but it's maybe stuff that just kind of goes past our head that we may breeze by, but something that may be super important to you that you might want to hear just another opinion on or get another, you know what I'm saying, viewpoint on.
So please continue to keep supporting the creatives, not just us, anybody that you look to and you know, you listen to their content or take in their content. It's really, really important to invest in that way because you continue to get what you're looking for. And people don't have to bow down to the bigger companies and do a lot of things that would kind of bite on their integrity as creative. So again, this has been episode 43. We thank y'all guys for tuning in. I'm in Sham Phoenix.
And I'm Stitch Early.
And this is the Stitch and Sham show. Yep, that's how it is. Listen, we told you this episode has just been raw.
Real raw.
So this has been the Stitch and Sham show. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.